Good evening, everybody. Hello. Oh my goodness, this mic's quite strong. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here this evening. My name's Dilys Williams. I'm the Director of Centre for Sustainable Fashion. And this evening is a collaboration between Selfridges, the Centre, and 5x15. So, as you all know, you're here tonight because we are looking at fashion from a fresh perspective. We're looking at what we really value and what fashion really stands for. And we're doing this through a number of different angles from different people who are going to be speaking to you this evening. But I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes to kind of foreground the perspectives that you're going to be hearing in a few moments. First of all, I'm sure all of you have seen the windows. The Bright New Things initiative has been something that we've been working on as a centre with Selfridges crew, and it's come out of a 5-year legacy of Selfridges really pioneering new talent, looking at the emerging ways that fashion can be really represented. And it's such an important thing, particularly in this country where we have so many young designers, and yet it's a really difficult struggle, particularly when you look at the difference between an emerging talent and a very established brand. They don't have the opportunity to tell the story of what they're doing. They don't necessarily have the huge marketing budget or the opportunity to have the public voice. And yet some of their stories have got amazing resonance, and they're the things that fashion really is about. This year, the Bright New Things has been taken to a whole new perspective because we've been working with Selfridges to really look at good design from the perspective of what is good now, but also what is good for our futures. And that means a different kind of design skill, and it really kind of thinks about not only how we're working, but how it affects other people. So fashion affects us all, but it affects people in very many different ways who are directly involved in making, but also bear the consequences of its making. So for us at the Centre, it's been great because we really love to work with people who have bold intention. We've been working not just on Bright New Things, but also with all of the buying teams. So really looking at what it means to have buying practices that are responsible. But that's not anything that's new for Selfridges. In the magazine that's about the initiative, I'm sure you will have seen that actually over 100 years ago, they put an advert out about their moral responsibility. And for a store that is probably one of the most prestigious, visible stores in the world, it is really important for them to be able to talk about how fashion contributes to culture, to economies, to our lifestyles, to what we think fashion really is about. So we have got the format for 5x15, which I need to remember. 2 rules. 1, 15 minutes each. No scripts. Sand timer. So I'll be flipping that over after introducing everybody. I can gloat because I'm not being timed, so I can spend as long as I like. But I hope that this will be the beginning of some discussions with everybody in the audience. What we are going to do to keep the flow is we are going to introduce speakers. Each speaker will be speaking for 15 minutes and then the next person. So there will be lots of ideas, but please hold those for the end so that you can come and talk more informally with all the people involved. Okay, so we will be hearing from one of the Bright New Things themselves. We'll also be speaking to people who have been looking at ideas around what fashion really is and what it stands for and what it should be and whether it really is doing itself justice and doing justice to all of those involved, whether the impact that it has on us as people, but also on the environment. As many of you may know, it's the second most polluting industry in the world. So whilst on the one hand it's about beauty, about something that should represent our identities individually, globally it is about something that actually is devastating on lots of different levels. So summer fashion is great, but there's a lot of it at the moment that needs a lot of attention. So what is it that we can trust? What are the questions that we need to ask? What power do we have when we're thinking about what we choose, what we buy, what we stand up in? So to answer some of those questions,